Okay, so today we're under the back end of my 01 2500 Dodge Ram with a Cummins. Because it's a factory manual shift 2500, I have the Dana 80 rear axle. You'll have the Dana 80 rear axle if you have a manually shifted 2500 with the Cummins, or if you have a 3500 Dodge Ram from this generation. If you have a 2500 automatic, you'll have a Dana 70. This is not compatible, what we're doing today. A lot of people will either leave these stock, you know, it's a good option. As you've seen in the Gale Banks videos, that the shape of the stock differential cover will help with, you know, fluid travel and reducing, you know, all the aeration and things like that. But whether you know, are a fan of Gale Banks or not, you can't help but give credit to some of his research. When I read it, I was inclined to think it was well done and that it made a lot of sense. And you know, the proof was in the pudding when you started seeing some of the demonstrations. So the Mag High-Tech and the PPE and the ATS covers, they all look really cool. I think they look super cool. I would love to have one, but you know, after seeing that video, I kind of thought it wouldn't be the best option for me. The stamped steel cover would probably do fine. It'd probably last forever. But I wanted something with a little extra cooling. My buddy Wyatt turned me on to this little guy. So this is actually a factory Dana Spicer 80 cover. As you can see, it's very sturdy aluminum, and it's got cooling fins here. This is actually a factory differential cover off of a Ford F350. There's a whole bunch of other models. I don't know. I'm not a Ford fan, so I don't follow it. Stock capacity, so it doesn't add any fluid level, but as you can see, the cooling improvements are substantial. It has a fill plug. It does not have a drain plug. If you want to service it, you will have to still pull this off to do that. But as you can see, it'll fit the Dana 80. I don't know if there's an equivalent for a 70 or other models. So this is part number 2013834, kit carrier cover assembly from Spicer. These are kind of hard to get. They're sold out from everywhere. When I was looking, where I ended up ordering it from, a place called Drivetrain America. Drivetrain America is a bunch of liars. They said it was in stock. They ended up drop shipping, and obviously it was back ordered like everywhere else. So even though Drivetrain America says they have them actively in stock and they have a whole, you know, whatever they display the quantity, they're liars. Don't listen to them. They suck. Anyway, I digress. It's about 115 bucks from like Summit, any other places, Jags. So it's pretty affordable. It's not quite to the $300 or whatever that Mag High-Tech or any of those other places are. So I learned about this from my buddy Wyatt. He's been rocking one for some time now, and he's used a heat gun. Got under and took measurements from the cover, from the axle tubes and everything like that, and this shows a substantial reduction between getting far out here on the axles or anything like that versus the differential cover. I forgot the numbers he told me, but you know, whatever. It was good enough for me that I was jealous. So I snagged me one. So let's get this sucker put on and see how she fits up. I forgot to add, it does come with all new bolts. So that's pretty sweet. That's a nice little benefit. Oh, Jesus Christ. So this isn't a detailed differential cover swap video, just trying to detail an alternative product to help save people money. Lots of videos about changing diff covers and fluids, so check those out if you need the finer specifics. I've never had this off before, so I hope my fluid isn't destroyed. Oh, gross. It's gray. It's not even like brown like the normal UE color. So this is my first time having this off. I've only had the truck a few, a month or two or maybe 3, I don't know. First look inside the diff. Super not stoked about the open differential. Guess a True Track's in my future. One way to tell your ratio is it will be printed on the ring gear here. This is 354, I'm pretty certain. Yep. 46 by 13. So what you would do is you would take 46, divide by 13. I believe that comes out to 354. 354. Yay, math. I took math for Marines when I was in, and it didn't help. Anyway, so you can take 46 divided by 13, and that'll give you your ratio. The ratio is simply how many revolutions of the pinion gear up front does it take to make a full revolution of the ring gear. 3.54 is my ratio. Another common ratio is 410 or 411, whatever you want to round it to. I believe it's 10 and 41. I don't know, something like that. That'll be for a future episode here. I do have a 410, an early Dana 80 410 from a 95 truck, I believe, which has the power lock differential, which is a little bit better. And then we're going to re-gear the front axle. That's for the future. For now, we're just going to service this one for a long road trip we're going on. Almost, I think it's like 750 miles or something like that. So I want to top off all the fluids, make sure it's good to go. We're going to let this sucker drive, man. Open. Open diff. That's annoying. That is really annoying. So with regard to gear ratios, there's a lot of like, I don't know, not necessarily mystery, but I would say more misinformation shrouded about it. Like, I mean, a lot of people go, I want better mileage, so I want to go from 410 to 354, right? Oh, give me better mileage. I'll cruise real fast on the highway. Or, I've even seen somebody post in the forums like they wanted to go to 331, right? Like, okay. What size tire are you running, man? I'll say some shit like, 37s. Cool. If you go to 354s, you're going to smoke your transmission like nonstop, and you're going to get worse mileage. Oh man, you know what you're talking about. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Your rear end ratio isn't like out here by itself making its own, doing all the work here, okay? You've got your transmission gear ratios. You've got your ring and pinion ratio. And a very important one that people neglect sometimes, it's a major factor in your final drive ratio, is your tire size. Your tire size, like if you were to take this 354 and put it on 38s or whatever, and I'm just throwing out numbers here, these aren't exact, don't, go fact check me on a RPM calculator, but if you were to take a 354 with, 38-inch tires or whatever, it's going to behave like the characteristics and the resistance and the forces seen by the drivetrain forward, is going to be equivalent to something like a 308 rear axle. So it's very important that if you are going to put something like 38-inch tires or 40-inch tires or some crazy nonsense like that, you need to keep a numerically higher ratio. 410, 430, 456 even, depending on what your transmission is. So as you know, we have a NV5600 in this truck. So the NV5600 has a 0.73 to 1 overdrive ratio, right? Now I don't know what all the automatic ones ratios are, but I know that a GM 4L80 is 0.8 to 1. I know that the T56 6-speed's got a 0.5 on its second overdrive, right? So that there's a major variance in what your overdrive ratio can be, and that has a huge influence on what rear axle you can run. So using this as an example, 0.73 to 1, basically 27% overdriven with a 354 and 34-inch tires like I got here, it's pretty low. Like I can't shift into 6th gear unless I'm on the freeway, right? Like and I'm cruising. I can't tow in 6th gear with this ratio and this size tire. It's too steep. Now, if I were to switch to a 410, the RPMs come up a little bit. The engine is then cruising at a reasonable ratio, somewhere 65 miles an hour, something a little bit closer to 2,000 RPM. I can tow in 6th gear with that kind of ratio. I can use that 6th gear in a little bit more wide spread, right? If I was to shift into 6th gear at 60 miles an hour with 354s and 34-inch tire, the engine's lugging. It's outside of its most effective torque range. You're going to get worse mileage. You're going to put way more stress on your transmission. 6th gear in these is weak anyway. So if you start doing stuff like that with like 37s and 354s, and you get mad when you shift into 6 at 65 miles an hour and your RPMs drop to 1250 or something, it's not the vehicle's fault. It's your fault for doing that. You need to re-gear. 38-inch tires, you're probably, 411s at least. I don't have an RPM calculator in front of me, so I don't know exactly, you know, if I did, I could pair out some setups for you. You need to pick both your tire size, your ratio, and your top gear, essentially, of your transmission, your overdrive ratio. You need to pair those together to come up with an effective cruising RPM at the speed that you want to go and the gear you want to go with your overdrive ratio, and match your tire size and your ring and pinion to that. Picking you want your cruise ratio to be in your most effective torque range if possible, if feasible. If you've got like a crazy 13 mil pump and, you know, a 488 turbo or something like that, your peak torque is going to be way higher than what you want to cruise at. But then again, I guess cruising's probably not your priority then either. So what I'm going to do here is I got 0.73 overdrive, 354s, and 34-inch tires. I'm super not a fan of open differentials, so I'm kind of in this place where I can swap in my 411 Dana 80 over there and be happy. I do have a gear set and an install kit for the front. I could also leave this for a while, and during the winter I'm not doing a lot of towing, we're not delivering any hay, like probably cruise with this, and I probably will. A future episode for the ring and pinion install on the front end is likely to occur, and I will detail my findings for the RPM drop so you guys can see exactly how it works. I don't know if I'm going to put this rant on YouTube. I'm not trying to make this a big deal. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Alright, now torque spec will be 35 foot-pounds, according to the literature I found. Boom! We got ourselves a fill hole right there. to dump whatever your choice is, whatever your flavor. Ooh, and it's magnetic. Neato. Alright guys, so as you can see, we're topping her off here real quick. We're using some pretty heavy fluid, 85-140. Yeah, she's all torqued up, and I let the RTV tack up for quite a while before we decided to start throwing fluid in it. It's the same day but several hours later, so hopefully it should work out with no leaks. All the new hardware is in there. Again, this is a pretty awesome stock replacement budget upgrade that will offer you a lot more cooling. So you save your money instead of buying one of those fancy mag high-techs or PPE or whatever. Snag yourself one of these. Should help your rear axle last quite a while. If you don't have an open rear axle, if you got a limited slip, make sure you add the limited slip additive when you do this. I would suggest using a much better fluid than what I'm using too, but whatever. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, please. Let's get the ratings up on this, and I'll keep coming with some cool budget-oriented quality upgrades for these second-gen Dodges. Let's keep them on the road. Thanks. Bye.